Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hush Hallows, Monster of the Week story here on Dice Priori. We are back for episode 20 of our lovely little stream here. I am Matthew Foreman. I will be playing Martha tonight. She is an expert, which is like, an expert. That's her playbook. Cool. She uses she, her pronouns. I use he, him pronouns. Just a couple quick channel announcements before we introduce the rest of the lovely players and GM. Tomorrow night is the second part of the Tales of Gashari for our strike. That is the show where we, in canon, in universe, as the same universe and same timeline as Ghost in the Machine, play out different storylines with different characters, and that is our way of exploring different systems to use for Ghost in the Machine when it upon its triumphant return. Right now, we're exploring the 2016 RPG of tactical combat and heedless adventure known as Strike by Jim McGarva and some other fine folks. And then and then you can also expect other systems coming down the pipelines on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. CDT. On Monday nights, you can expect me and the Big Boy Season folks to return, playing other systems as well. We don't know what we're doing there. We're keeping things fast and loose. We're going to be playing Outbreak next, and you could just expect that Mondays at 9:30 p.m. CDT coming down the pipeline. Those are the channel announcements that I had. Take it away, Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria. I use they and she pronouns. Tonight, I am playing Hektor Bartholomew, who uses he, him pronouns. He is a 70-ish-year-old mild amnesiac and also mad scientist who makes monsters, including one that we're fighting right now. Yay! Excuse me. I will toss it to Emma.
Hello. I am Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter. I use she, her pronouns. And tonight I am playing Lucy Doe, who uses the Monsters playbook. And she is our resident cranky Grim Reaper, who also uses she, her pronouns. Alexis.
Hello, that's me, the disembodied voice, named Alexis. You can find me at Vox Venato on the internets, and I use she, her pronouns, and so does Darlene, the Hex playbook, who is a blood witch, and I will be playing her tonight. Blood witch. Also, you can find me here on Fridays, also playing a blood witch, but in a much more grim scenario and more grim world, as Emma and I co-GM a brand new series that we premiered on Friday called Hallowed Hearts. And it's part of our Twitchy Halloween series. And Maria, the lovely Maria, is in that as well, and so is Val. You can also find me and Emma together hosting Grand Hag's Watch, where we tear apart horror films from our femme perspective. And we just lay into it with our Grand Hag claws. We tore apart The Love Witch the other week, and the next opportunity we get, we will let you know. So pay attention to the socials, and we'll be doing that again here sometime soon. I think that's everything I'm doing, in addition to being here on Tuesdays and here on Wednesdays for Tales of Gashari. So, Ty, why don't you tell us what kind of terrible we're in?
I'm Ty. I'm the keeper for this evening. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me at Ballroom Brawler on Twitter. Last time in Hush Hallows, the gang, now including Martha Williams, the Aunt of Oak, traveled to Nana's Fat Slabs, where Hektor created a brand new arm, which incorporated several vials of liquid and a couple syringe fingers. And Martha kind of reorganized their library a little bit and did a little research into some options. Actually, everyone did a little bit of research into some different options that venues they could go down to try to take care of this lumberjack. I think they finally kind of settled on trying to find out its true name and use that against it. From there, they decided to travel back to the Wake and Bake at Brogy's, where Martha and Hektor had a little bit of a therapy session where Hektor delved back into the memories that were most immediate prior to his coma. Darlene did a little bit more research into dreams, and Lucy decided to take a walk with Smokey and Blaze, Brogy's Siberian Husky. So when we resume, the sun has begun to set as Lucy walks along the streets of Hush Hallows. Smokey and Blaze eagerly tug at their leashes. On the opposite side of the street, a man with a pointed red beard, wool beanie, and clothes about 3 sizes too big for his frame gives you a polite nod as he passes. Roll either sharp or cool.
Oh, okay.
You can choose either
roll.
one.
I'll roll cool.
Okay.
It's an 11.
That's very good. You continue to walk down the street, but out of the corner of your eye and just kind of with your senses, you notice a beat-up white van has been trailing you for a couple streets now.
Oh, shit. Do I that's all I know, just that it's a beat up white van that's been trailing me for a bit.
Yep. You just kind of notice it out of the corner of your eye. It's not like something you've been it's kind of just came to your attention.
Okay. Okay. Everybody hold on to their butts. Is there, oh God, there's no goddamn cell service. Is there a, what stores are near me? Are there stores near me? Are there houses near me? What am I looking at?
I assume you would have gone down the main street. Well, you tell me, would have you gone down the main street or kind of?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have gone down a side street for sure.
Then yeah, you're kind of passing one brew over the Cuckoo's Nest, the coffee shop on the other side, the Freight House, which is a kind of an upscale diner, sits. So you're near some restaurants and stores.
Do any of them allow pets inside?
Yeah, probably for this place, sure. I think definitely at least the coffee shop would.
Okay, I'm going to dip into the coffee shop, pretending like I don't like I'm gonna stop and like take a look at it and then like walk inside. But as soon as I get inside, I'm gonna kind of out of the corner of my eye see what the van does.
Okay. You don't even have to roll anything. You pop inside, and as soon as you do, the van passes.
Can I see a plate number?
Roll plus sharp.
Another 11.
It is. You can tell by looking at it, and probably from something you've run into in your past. It's like one of the rental plates you get at a like a dealership if you're just going out for a test drive. It's not like an actual. It doesn't look like a commercial plate or just like a borrowed plate is what it looks like. You can get the number, but.
I mean, that's not particularly helpful. She'll probably like log it in her brain, but
okay. Sure.
If I see it pass and like go further away, I'm going to walk out and
before you walk out, you hear a voice. Oh, did you want anything? As the bell rang when you walked in, and you see Shauna, who I think either you met once before, but I know for sure Oak did. A red-haired girl with a very kind of expressionless face, staring at you and the dogs.
No.
Cool.
And I'll wait till the van is out of sight, and I will leave, and I will book it back to the Wake and Bake.
The dogs are excited as you begin to run back. They are matching speed, tongues wagging as you make your way back to the Wake and Bake. Inside of the Wake and Bake, Darlene, based on your previous kind of thoughts and research, you think that the library and the articles therein might be more advantageous than going to the town records for what you'd mentioned. As you are now currently alone and thinking, doing research when we last left off.
Cool. So I'm alone right now in the where?
Not like alone. You're in the main room of the Wake and like the common room of the Wake and Bake, whereas Hektor and Martha kind of relaxed after their session. Lucy left, so there isn't anyone near you currently. You're not like abandoned. You're just No one else is researching.
I'm abandoned. Okay.
Anything you'd like to do?
I guess I'll relay that information. What time of day is this again? This is night?
It is now beginning. The sun has begun to set. It's probably 5, 6 p.m. after. Because you guys went and did the hospital stuff right in the morning. And then you did the wake and bake and Nana's and back to the wake and bake and the therapy session. So it's closer to 6, 7. Oh, and Martha napped too. So it's closer to 6, 7 p.m. now.
Okay. So library might still be open.
It is a Sunday, but maybe.
Oh, well.
Okay. You'll relay that to someone when someone else is available. Hektor and Martha, you have been kind of recovering in your own rooms, as far as I remember, after the first therapy session. What are your characters thinking or doing afterward?
Martha, if I remember, I think Martha's taking a nap. Right?
Yeah,
she looked at the photo because she had been up all night.
Yes.
So
this is kind of after you've taken. This is after Darlene finished her. So this is after the nap. This is post nap.
I think Martha would try to find Hektor again, like go to see Hektor.
Mm-hmm.
Did Hektor stay with Darlene the whole time afterwards? Because I know Hektor came into the room while. Did Hektor? What did you do? Did you stay there?
I know he came in. They had their brief conversation. But he probably wouldn't have stayed like a long time after that. He would have probably just left you to your thoughts and your work, and gone back to one of the other rooms.
Okay.
To kind of figure out his own brain for a second.
Okay.
So Hektor, what do you do in your own room during this kind of period?
I think that he would take out a book, probably like a small, like a flip notebook or something that he has on his person, and write down everything that he remembered from that that time, the session with Martha. And this particular notebook also has notes kind of scribbled in it from all of the other sort of remembrances that he's been having.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to focus on not necessarily the emotions that are in that moment, but the actual specific things, like details of people's faces or the colors of the walls, actual like tactile things, to try to piece together whatever sort of past puzzle his past experiences were. And I think that's probably what he's doing if Martha comes to find him.
And Martha, you would knock on the door and find him doing that?
He probably would actually have his door like open partially. He wouldn't have closed it all the way.
Martha would, of course, give it like a little tap.
Oh, hello.
How are you doing?
I don't know if I have an answer to that right now. I'm existing, I guess.
Okay. I am feeling a bit of impatience With Oak being in the hospital, I want to be able to set this right and get rid of this monster. But I don't know how to do that with what we have in front of us.
Right.
I'm not sure what to do next.
There has to be something in here that could help us. I made the thing. There has to be a way to unmake it. Maybe we need to be more specific.
That is the impasse I'm at. Do you have anything more specific? We're looking for a poltergeist. The identity of that poltergeist, but we don't know who it is. I guess we could surmise it was not created just before you lost your memories.
No.
But this lumberjack is not part of your past. Is that correct? I mean, the body of the lumberjack.
The actual, like, the...
Yes.
I don't think so. I think it was probably just a casing or something to house all of this stuff together. I don't know.
We need somewhere to start. That's the difficult part. We could try starting with a lumberjack, but this is obviously not easy for you to do. There's obviously a cost, and there's only so many times we can try to go down this road in such a short amount of time before we're... This may not be a formal therapeutic procedure, but I still have to not harm you. So we need a piece to go on to start. That's what I came here to say.
Ty, I'm trying to make sure that I have like memories and player knowledge correct.
Sure.
Did Hektor have a memory flashback of like a brief flashback of the construction of this thing?
There was a point where the construction of, like, how I would phrase it as, you have a vague memory of the preparation of the vessel. Not the entire thing, but you do remember what you do have remembered, that fractured memory of you preparing the vessel in some manner.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure it was Hektor and not just me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would bring that up to Martha and say that might be a place to start. It's at least a bit more honed in than 30 years of nothing.
Okay. That is somewhere to start.
Do you want to start now?
That is entirely your choice, Hektor. I can push myself very far. But it's you we have to worry about. You need to be ready.
I think I don't know if I'll ever be fully ready for anything, so I guess I'm as ready now as I'll be tomorrow or the next day. Well, we're in less danger now, so probably now would be better than later.
Okay. Let's try again.
Okay. And you guys begin making your way back downstairs to Martha's sanctum. Around this time, Lucy, you... It is. We've decided.
It's canon.
Overseas.
I don't get to say it's fine. It's a sanctum. It is.
Lucy, you enter back door or front door of the Wake and Bake?
Whichever one is closest.
Okay, front door. Okay. Roll weird, Darlene.
Wait, who did you ask to roll weird just now?
Darlene.
Oh, no.
I'm nervous.
Great. Was the last thing I did was not magic, so total 10.
Still good. You as soon as Lucy crossed the threshold into the Wake and Bake with Blaze and Smoky, you feel the tingles on the back of your neck, and you feel your blood chill for a second. Not in fear, but just in... Not only... Before you even see her, you realize this. As you realize something has crossed the threshold of a supernatural origin into the Wake and Bake.
Wait.
And this is the bonus for rolling super high on your protection roll.
So I felt when Lucy walked over?
Yeah, because Lucy is a supernatural creature.
I'm dead.
Got extra bonus features to this. Yeah, ritual.
Because when I warded the Wake and Bake, I rolled a 12 plus and I had advanced it. So
Good.
there we go. There it is.
Hey,
There it is.
works.
Wow.
But you feel this right as you cross the threshold, and you see Lucy not panting because she doesn't breathe, but just kind of running in a little exasperated with these two dogs.
Just look up to Lucy and I say, well, at least I know that my spell worked particularly well. I felt you walk in here.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh. Cool. Glad it works. So where is everyone? I have you seen a beat up old white van around with rental plates?
Not in the past few weeks. That seems like a pretty generic MO, though, for bads that I've encountered before.
No, I'm just...
Nothing specific, just... You saw something?
Yeah, it was tailing me for a bit. I had concerns.
Usually not a good sign, as you,
Nah.
I'm sure, are aware.
Ty, can I take a moment and think back? Do I remember if the windows were like tinted on the van?
They were, yeah.
Okay. Well, keep your eyes out. We probably shouldn't go anywhere by ourselves, maybe. I have no idea what it means. Maybe it means nothing, but I'm pretty sure it means something.
No, you're probably right. I did have a thought while I was left to my own devices that if we're looking for the name of this thing and it's not found within Hektor's memory, then maybe we should look at maybe some town records or at the library. Maybe there's old newspapers on hand. I think the library is probably our best bet, but we apparently shouldn't be going anywhere alone right now. And I don't think Hektor should be leaving here.
Yep.
Because anywhere Hektor goes, the danger follows. So,
Yep. I would agree with that. Yup.
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna go maybe let the others know if I can find them to be on the lookout for that. And I will come back here and maybe we try the library today or tomorrow. I don't know how libraries work. It's a place I don't go that often.
Sounds good. Can you do me one real quick favor when we do leave? Is just, when I'd like to try being outside of this place and see if I can still feel you cross this threshold. If I'm not within it.
Okie dokie.
I'm curious. We can do that later though. I'll stay here and watch for cars out the window.
And Lucy's gonna see if she can locate people, although...
Yeah, right around that time, Hektor and Martha would probably be making their way downstairs from Hector's room to go into Martha's.
Okay.
And you all would be meeting up in the main room.
Hello.
Hello?
So took the doggos for a walk. They're great. I did have a beat up old white van trailing me though.
That's not good.
Nope.
Is that normal for you to be
Nope.
trailed?
Nope. Well, not lately. Nope. Not by a beat up old van for sure. Usually it's the cops.
Understood.
They had those temporary plates on the back, so I couldn't get any kind of plate information. So I don't think that any of us should go anywhere by ourselves. If anyone needs to go anywhere, I think we need to go in pairs or more. I don't know what it means, but everything's pretty fucked right now, frankly.
I don't remember a lot, but I do remember that was a bit consistent. That hasn't really changed.
No, it hasn't, but I have serious concerns about a van trailing someone alone in a place where there is no cell service.
Why you? Why were they trailing you?
I don't know. I have no idea. The windows were tinted, couldn't see who it was. And I ducked into a coffee shop.
Since arriving at Hush Hallows, have you done anything that would make you a target?
This is where we see a montage of the first week in Hush Hallows.
Correct.
Of everything you've ever done.
The old lady.
Maybe. I did in fact, I think maybe day 1 or day 2, I did kill somebody.
Where?
What does Lucy think of when she says that?
What do I think of?
Yeah, like what goes through her head exactly? Does any memories play? What happens?
I think I probably replay the moment in my head. I think I've probably not stopped replaying it because I'm so disappointed with how I handled it, because I believe it's put my friends in danger.
Now especially, but maybe a little bit before, as you kind of review this memory, all your actions are very clear, but whoever you killed is just kind of static. You don't remember her face or her body, or even if it was a her.
Excuse me, fucking.
They did something fucky.
What?
There is magic afoot. There is. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, shouting.
Oh no, that's a terrible revelation. Okay.
It doesn't feel like a revelation when you remember it. It just feels weird. It just feels like It's odd that you can't.
They fucking
her.
altered reality.
No, but it sure is a revelation for us as players.
Yeah, correct.
I think so. Then, if that's what's going through my head right now, I think that when you ask me that, Martha, you kind of see her not necessarily leave, but she's clearly thinking about something, and you just kind of see her look like confused and her brow kind of furrows. I don't remember who it was. And then she kind of looks over at Hektor and then realizes that Hektor wasn't there for that. I don't remember who it was.
Are you telling me you have a memory issue?
I have never had a memory issue. I remember being there. It was in the what is it? The cult of the hushed hands? Is that what it is? The
Fellowship of the hushed hands.
Ah, yes, the fellowship of the hushed hands. So I remember being there. I remember that Oak and Darlene were there, and then I saw someone and I went feral. But I have no idea who they were, which is unusual for me. I don't know what that means.
Okay. I think it's important to recognize that it sounds like your memory has been tampered with.
Dear God. Are you serious? I mean, of course you're serious. This isn't funny.
Martha
Big joke.
just cracks like the slightest smile. Yeah, Lucy, roll fractured memory.
It's time, Lucy.
No!
It's time.
This is Ghost of the Machine.
You may not have selected this move from this playbook, but you sure are going to roll fractured memory
Everybody
now.
gets it.
Yes.
That's the
Listen, though.
story here. We're all going to roll
Listen.
fractured memory by the end.
But actually, though,
I think.
Martha, well, I guess, and Hektor, I actually don't know if you know this, but Martha, they did find the body. I did a very messy job with that. I should have done better, and I panicked, and I didn't, which is also unusual for me, but it happened, so we're letting it go. And they did not release the body to the police.
Okay. I'm just here to help because I was asked to come to help. Whether you want to deal with the monster first or the cult, I'm there.
Really?
Yeah. Until Oak gets better, I'm here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I don't want to interrupt. Thought I should let you know. Darlene and I might hit up the library. Don't know if they're open on a Sunday.
Okay. You hit up the library. Let us know what you find. Hektor and I will work together. We'll see who has more. Maybe that'll be how we can decide what we do next.
Sounds good.
Okay. Martha glances over at Darlene. Just like does that sound good?
I was not there.
Martha.
No, we're all in the
together.
same. We're
Yeah.
all
Oh,
in the
we're
same
all in the
area.
same room now? Okay.
Yeah. So Martha
Sorry.
turns to Darlene.
I think that sounds fine. Before we go though, Lucy, if we can check that one thing, that way we'll at least know if we need to rush back here.
Okay.
when I warded this place, it worked real well. So I actually was able to sense when Lucy came back in. And I just want to see if I can do that when we're away from it. Or if it's just something I'm tied to when I'm inside. So we go test that.
Okay. Yeah, as you guys are kind of splitting up anyhow, Darlene and Lucy leave through the front door. Lucy hops back in. It's the same thing. As soon as she re-enters, you feel the same feeling. The blood chills a little bit and you get tingles in the back of your neck.
Damn, that's delightful. Okay.
Tingle.
So before we actually leave, Darlene will just let them know. Well, seems like I can sense that happening regardless if I'm inside or not. So at least we'll know if we need to rush back here. Phones may not work, but at least this does.
Okay. Are you guys driving to the library? Or are you guys just taking a walk?
We can take the hearse.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
let's
right.
do that.
We never talk about you having hearse. So you do have one. We established it in like episode 2, but you
We
never
sure
use
did.
it.
Nope, I don't.
Are you driving? Or am I?
Oh, no, I'm driving.
Okay, all right.
She's
I
my
think the-
baby.
I think the
Good.
current cars are one El Camino, the Mercedes from Martha, a blue PT Cruiser, and the hearse.
What did Darlene have?
You didn't. You drove in Raphael's. Most of you guys drove in Raphael's truck, but Lucy had a hearse too, because you guys didn't
Right.
do like a convoy from town to town.
One of these days, I need to rent a nicer car for myself, for us.
A stretch like
Stretch
van.
Hummer.
Yeah,
Oh my
stretch Hummer. Yeah.
God.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
no Hummers for
Bright
Darlene.
red.
Thanks.
All right, you guys take the hearse and begin driving to the local library, which we'll talk about in a minute. We come back to Hektor and Martha inside Martha's. He begins to prepare for the next therapy session.
I think we're. Yeah, I think it was just temporary. Okay. So yeah, we're in the sanctum for the thing. Okay.
What do you do?
a cup of tea,
Yeah.
some like chamomile.
Yep. Got some calming music, and I have a metronome to tick back and forth. And I mean, I'm not a hypnotist, but Martha is. Gonna do the old hypnotism and talk through Hektor. So what that looks like as a player playing someone like this, Martha says, "Okay, so let's start. Close your eyes and think back to that memory you told me about. Focus on the strongest detail you can. It could be the way you felt. It could be something you touched, something you heard, something you smelled. Focus. And tell me what that is."
He focuses on the headpiece when he was working on that, and the strange runes that he's not sure where he got them, but he knew that they went in these places, and tries to focus on that moment, the beginning of whatever this was.
Interesting. Roll fractured memory.
Does this happen to be dealing with the area of my area of study?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That makes it a 10 then.
Good. Yeah, and just like that, with the soothing voice of Martha and you focusing on that detail of the runes, you are kind of back in that moment. You feel yourself, your hands, one flesh, one. What does your arm look like in this time period?
I think it's definitely less polished. It might have been more of like a hook hand as opposed to one with actual like
Digits.
fingers, actual digits. Yeah. But definitely bulkier. They're like one piece of it looks like it could come off to be like a bully stick or something like that, but nothing fancy at all.
Okay. You have your very unelegant beginner metal arm and your flesh arm, and you are kind of looking inside of this mascot head. The etched runes that don't seem familiar exactly, not something that you would have done on your own, but maybe with help. You see some wires and cords kind of entwined in the felt and mesh of this suit. You see some vague designs that seem similar to the ghost bag. But you're in this moment currently, holding this head. What do you try to do? And you can't talk to Martha in this moment as well, as you are aware she is present.
I think the entire time, anything that he does, he's just basically narrating it out loud. And he looks up from what he's working on around where he is to see if there's anything notable around or any people or other things around.
Yeah, you begin to look around. You see a couple things. You see the door to your laboratory is closed. There doesn't seem to be anyone else, any of your other colleagues in this area in this moment working with you. You feel it's late. You can feel the exhaustion that you have typically pushed through working late nights, but you do feel it has set in, and it is probably a very late hour, and you've probably been working on this tirelessly. You see in one corner of your lab, you see a glass container with a unnatural light that you have seen before in your classroom many, many years ago. Very similar.
What's that? Is that a ghost?
It looks like it might be a ghost. Looks like maybe some sort of
trapped ghost.
Some sort of contained ghost.
Ooh. Good. Okay. I would go over to the container.
You walk over to it. It is it's a little more elegant than the one you had. Your one in your classroom really was not so much. It was more about bringing things over than it was containing. This looks like it uses some of that technology, but kind of repurposed to be more of a mix of the ghost bag and that the more elegant tech you had back in the classroom to be some sort of temporary holding.
Okay. Are there any notes or documentation or anything around it, or any sort of like, I guess this was in the 80s or something,
80s
readout or something like that, computer system hooked up to it or anything?
There isn't a computer system. It seems to be more, the only kind of papers you find around are the prototype, kind of similar to, well, actually, you haven't found that paper yet that actually gave you. You do find some prototype designs, like you see the lumberjack outfit around here. You're clearly holding the head, and you see some sketches of the containment applying the ghost bag technology and this other technology to it.
Okay.
You feel this memory begin to fade, and well, let's see what Martha says first, and then I can give you a little prompting if you need it.
So this is communicated to Martha. Martha would say, "You can see the ghost bag. You can see the lumberjack. Is there a label on the ghost bag? Is there a name?" That's what Martha would say.
I would begin looking for something like that. Either probably not on the machine itself, because I don't think Hektor would just be like, "Here is blah," like a freaking zoo display. But I think he would actually look for something maybe like a small personal book, like similar to the notebook that he's been writing all of his recalled memories in, to see if there's something that sparked his interest but wasn't in the moment necessary for the procedure.
You begin to look around, and the ghost bag, you find it, and it's beat up. You see the same kind of ectoplasmic residue on there. It's in a lot worse shape. It seems like it either is no longer can be used, or it's on the cusp of being completely destroyed. You don't find any specific names. You find just kind of your plans of application. And with that, this memory begins to fade, and you can choose to go forward or backward in your memories. While you think about that, let's go to the other crew. Darlene and Lucy, it is night in Hush Hallows, but you make your way to the library, which you have not been to yet. It is a tall brown and red brick building. On the side of it, you see a hyper-realistic raccoon gnawing on a book, and it says Tom Books Library.
God damn it.
And let's just on.
You sure do know your audience.
Tom Books.
We shouldn't go in. He's gonna want to take money from us. We're gonna leave with a loan. Driving here, did I see a van tailing us?
You can roll sharp.
Oh. Ooh. 8.
No, it's dark now. It's a little harder to see, and you didn't really catch. There are cars behind you at points, but you didn't see.
Okay.
Nothing clear.
Is there what's the parking situation like here? Is there like a parking lot?
There's a parking lot. It's pretty empty currently. It's like it's not necessarily on a main street. It's a slightly standalone building.
I missed. Is Tom Books open right now?
There are lights on inside Tom Books.
Okay, all right, great.
I will park, but I am going to park wherever it is brightest. Wherever there's a lot of light, that's where I'm parking.
There's probably a street lamp you can park under in this parking lot. And you guys approach. And as you enter, it's fairly empty, devoid of people. There's someone behind the counter. Looks to be a man in his maybe 40s, 50s. Wearing a horizontally striped sweater vest. And he's got a very close-cropped brown beard. And he's reading. But otherwise, it seems pretty devoid of people. Not a lot of people hanging out in libraries at Sunday evening.
I look to Darlene.
Darlene just looks at Lucy and says, is it coincidence that it's a raccoon out there after I find that a bit humorous.
It's okay. The
Considering.
raccoon gods have found us.
They sure have.
They're mad.
Apparently, they can't take a joke. So
Stupid grave humor.
maybe we should start in wherever old newspapers and shit would be.
Lucy will look to the counter. Excuse me.
Microfilms and stuff.
Hey, what's going on?
Do
boy.
you have like a reading room where we can take a look at either if you have old newspapers or microfilms of old newspapers from Hush Hallows?
Yeah, I can point you in that right direction. We got a couple of reading rooms in back, to small little places. I got a couple chairs, a couple desks. You can get a nice coffee if you want to.
Cool.
All right, then
Sounds
he
good.
points you in this in the right direction to where all the previous Hush Hallows kind of newspapers and microfilm would be, and a secluded reading room. But not that you necessarily need the seclusion currently, but you have it.
How many microfilm readers are there?
Just, I think at this point, probably just 2.
Okay. Do you want to take one and I take one? And we just go, do we have a year? Do we know a time period?
Would we have been able to get any of that information before?
So,
we left
kind
Hector?
of, where exactly, try to narrow down what you both are looking. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Period, you guys know something in the 80s-ish, 70s,
Yeah.
like late 70s, early, probably all the 80s. But what kind of things are you looking for?
Darlene, at least, is looking for names of the crew that Hector used to run with, along with Gretchen, and any sort of strange occurrences they were tied to that might be this lumberjack thing, or have been around the same time.
And Lucy, what are you looking for? Come on.
I think that Lucy is looking for anything that might have Hector's name in it, or any odd occurrences connected specifically to the school.
To the school. Okay. Yeah, you can both roll and investigate, and we can.
Whatever school the
Timber Creek Academy.
Yep, that one. Sorry, what are we rolling?
Investigate, both of you.
Okay. Oh.
What'd you get?
I had 9.
I have a 12.
Ooh. Did you advance that?
I did not advance that one, unfortunately.
That's fine.
Unless I'm convincing this microfilm to reveal its information to me, it's not advanced.
Imagine advancing anything other than use magic.
Imagine.
I don't see a point.
I don't
Even though it's advanced 2 basic moves, you should use magic twice.
Yes.
That's right.
When
It
you get
doesn't
a
give us any mechanical benefit to
When
do
you get a
that
14
twice,
plus,
but
you
we're
can
doing
do
it.
anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about what you guys get in a second. Go back to Hector and Martha.
Oh boy.
We gotta go back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As in, go retreat
Farther.
retreat
Mhm.
from that
As in-
point.
Continue forward into the memory, but backwards in time.
Yes.
In the memory.
Backwards in time, so
Yep.
earlier than that point.
Yes.
Yep. And Martha would instruct Hector as such, big. Okay. I want you to start taking steps backward. What were you doing in that moment before? And instructing Hector to go back in time.
Okay. Hector, roll fraction memory.
Is this still pertaining to my field of study?
It currently is, yeah.
Yay. Oh no. Good. That brings it to a 7.
That's not a failure.
Mm.
The next memory, you take it back a little bit, and now you are seeing yourself kind of in the third person rather than the first, and you see yourself running across town, and you hear sirens at your backside. You feel the cold air, but the memory of heat, and your clothes are singed. There is soot on your face and on your palms, and you are clutching your ghost bag to your chest as you sprint alone through Hush Hallows back to Nana's.
Okay. Can I go farther?
Sure. Yeah, roll it.
Hang on, I just have to write down arson real quick. Is this still pertaining to my field of study?
Yeah.
Ask it every time.
Always,
10.
always roll will be currently.
Okay, cool.
10. Yeah, you begin to roll back a little farther. You feel heat on your skin. Martha, you now see from the eyes again that Hektor is now once again crying these gray, oozing tears. And we'll go back to the library.
Oh boy.
Back in the library, Lucy, you got a 9 kind of pertaining to the school. I think you guys search for, it takes a little bit for you, maybe a couple hours as you're doing this. It's getting probably close to closing time, but Tom Books comes by now and again, gives you some very cheap coffee, some non-dairy creamer and sugars. And you find odd occurrences at the school. You find a couple. The one that kind of in that time period may have pertained closest to you is that there was a point in the 70s where there was a fire very close to the school. It didn't manage to catch or burn it down, but there was a big deal in the 70s about a fire that was caused. Darlene, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say that I think I would probably read the article about the fire because of its vicinity to the school building. Just to see if there was any, like, did people die? How did it start?
Yeah, as you were looking through, like, kind of, this article is mainly just about, it was mainly about the school and just a side note that, we're glad the school was left untouched by this fire. At around that same time as you're finding that, Darlene, you find an article more specific. It's about how there was a fire at V3, the vast video vault, which had plenty of VHSs and was a mainstay in the 80s around Hush Hallows. It was completely burned to the ground. There were 3 injured and 1 left missing. And it was between it was not only this building, but it caught fire to the forest as well. They're not sure whether the fire started in the forest or in the building. It was never determined. But you find that, and you can find with what you get. You got a 12.
I did, yes.
Yeah, you find that. Yeah, you find that there were some injured, and the one missing was their names were left out of this article because they were minors. But a Daryl Hutchinson was a survivor. And he was the manager on duty at that point in time.
He was the manager of the store.
Manager of the store that was on duty, yeah.
What did you say his name was? Daryl Hutchinson?
Daryl Hutchinson.
And he survived,
Yes.
but was injured.
Yes.
And
Fascinating.
do I find, so that's the only name that I of note that I? That's the name that
That's
I
the name.
honed in on.
It does state in the article that the other names were not listed because they were underage. They were minors.
Okay. And how old was Hektor at that time?
If you math it together, like 40s, like 50s, no, it would have been
Okay.
40s, like late 40s.
And
Oh, and you would find in that article too that they are currently hunting down a suspect. They believe that a local scientist, Hektor Bartholomew, might have something to do with what was seen near that place at the time, and there are warrants out for his arrest.
are there any names other than Daryl Hutchinson that I find in conjunction with Hektor, like Gretchen or anyone else?
Tell me what kind of article you, other than like for that specific, what kind of articles would you be looking for? Just everything, or any sort of specifics for finding Hektor with just kind of Hektor's name? Are you looking? Is there any sort of specifics you're looking for to find that?
So Darlene's idea was if there were a group of monster hunters around back in the day, then there would be, holes in the stories of things that had happened. Like unexplained gas leaks that really didn't check out if you looked into them enough, that they weren't really a gas leak or something, stuff like that. And that there would probably be names loosely related or something around there. And if something happened that was big enough, like Hektor being wanted for arson.
You do find that I think you can either roll again, or you can either roll again for that and you'll get something, or you can let the 12 ride and you'll get something else, but not quite as well. It depends what you get. I'll let you do either or.
So the 12 rides, I'll get something in what vein?
In that, you'll find something of that. You'll find something. It might not be exactly what you're looking for, but you'll find something.
Because the ultimate goal here is to find the name of this thing. And if we think that it's something that Hektor knew, then that's how Darlene thinks we're gonna find it. God damn it. The Zoom chat. Okay,
Are you sure?
We need some spooky jazz now.
I don't know.
Dun, 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 dun.
You're still at Tom Books. That's not.
Don't worry, Chad.
Don't worry.
It's fine.
I'm just
We're
giving.
talking about jazz.
Thank you, Corey. I was just giving the keeper a hard time about the music.
We're having a slight musical debate about whether smooth jazz is appropriate. The answer is yes.
what's being revealed here, yeah. At least go to less smooth jazz. Go to something more.
This is basically smooth jazz.
This is a spookier one I put on.
We need malevolent jazz, y'all.
It was
malevolent
a
jazz.
joke.
That's right.
It was a joke, yeah. Malevolent jazz.
Jazz that
Malevolent
has
jazz.
malevolent intent.
Actually, there's definitely
Ill intent.
there is actually almost certainly malevolent jazz out there somewhere.
There sure is.
Yeah.
Kevin probably has.
Thank you for the sidebar, everyone. Okay, have a great
But I
night.
have no idea what we
next-
were doing.
Next week on the history of jazz, featuring
You were debating whether you wanted to roll. We were talking about you rolling again. You can roll again and get something, or you can let the 12 stand. You'll still get something. As for, you can choose. Basically, it might not be exactly what you want for this vein, but
Okay, so let me just make sure I wasn't looking the cup too hard when I was looking for this place to write down my notes when you started talking about V3. So it's a rental store that Hektor burned down.
correct.
And Hektor was wanted for arson, but got away.
Correct.
Daryl Hutchinson was a manager on duty at the time. He survived but was injured. And that everyone else, there were other names, but they weren't listed because they were minors.
Correct.
Did anyone die in it?
There's one person listed as missing.
And what did we get that person's name?
It was a minor.
Okay. That's what I think I missed. So, would Daryl Hutchinson still be around, and would we be able to find him?
You could. So that's certainly something you could try.
And is there any information about who the officer or the fire chief were?
You could find that with
the
that.
time?
That wouldn't need a roll. That's pretty easy to find. You could find.
So we could follow up and talk to them, maybe.
Yeah, you can find those names pretty easily. You have the Maggie Wilson was the fire chief at the time. The police officer was Jeffrey Holmes. He was the officer who was reporting.
Is it Jeffrey Holmes?
Jeffrey Holmes, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll let the 12 ride. We'll see what I get from that.
Okay. With the 12, I think before, but you kind of write down these names that you do. With Lucy's help, you do some quick research into finding the police chief, the officer on duty, and Daryl. And I think before you got the last thing we see before you switch, we switch perspectives again, is you find an article about barbecue blowout at Nana's Fat Slabs, and you see a picture of Hektor and Nana just kind of smiling over a grill together and just kind of laughing. And we switch.
So that's an article that I find.
Yes.
And there's a picture of just those two.
Yeah. There's crowds nearby, but it's just mainly them together. That's the main focus of the picture.
Okay. All right. I need to not read chat until I mute.
It's always a mistake. And we go back to Hektor. Hektor, as you kind of flow back into, you already rolled, and you rolled high. As you flow back into this memory, you see yourself on the edge of the woods, and it is nighttime, but it is a blaze. There is a fire raging in the forest, and it has caught fire to the back of the V3 vast video vault, which is also beginning to burn. You feel the gun in your hands hot. You see the face of Gretchen, who looks confused and afraid, who's standing just inside of the trees. And you hear much farther back, much deeper in, you hear trees cracking, you hear screams of something that sounds otherworldly, as well as the battle cries that seem familiar to you, of people you know. And Gretchen stares at you and goes, "Hektor, what the hell happened?"
I think that's probably what he actually said. But he says that out loud too. To Martha. Okay,
Martha, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was running out of things to say. You're fine. Go ahead. If you had things to say, I'm all
No,
ears.
no, go ahead.
No?
Does Martha
Okay.
say anything? React?
Martha would say, okay, so if Gretchen just said something to Hektor, and so then Martha would say, "And what did you say in response?"
Keeper, do I have a feeling what the not specifics leading up to this, but that the action that I took was not one that was out of like an act. Was it something that I would have done accidentally, like in the tunnel?
It feels very similar too.
Very similar? Sweet. Yeah. Good. That feels really nice. Okay. Okay. Then he would, similarly to when he was in the tunnel, be saying, I'm sorry. It wasn't supposed to go this way. It was I'm sorry.
And you see her stand just kind of mouth agape, unsure what to say in this moment to chastise or help or offer you anything. And she stares at you and stares at the building and then runs back into the forest. What is Hektor's first response?
Hektor would, I think, at first instinctually want to follow her back into the woods.
Okay. You turn to make your way back to the woods. And you hear metal pounding, and you see the back door of the V3 open up as a plume of flame and smoke erupts from it. And you see a foot begin to emerge and a hand completely engulfed in flame touch the frame.
Is it like a human hand, or is it like...
it looks like a person's. It's very on fire, but it looks like it's humanoid shaped.
Okay, I would then go that direction instead.
You begin to run up, maybe jog, as this person begins to emerge from the back of the V3, and as you get closer, it looks to be it's a man wearing a nice leather jacket and pants. He looks to be in his early to mid 20s, and his flesh is beginning to slough off to one side as he is engulfed entirely in flames. And he is holding in his hands a burning bouquet of flowers.
Does he look like he's in pain?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He is not.
Good.
I think it's a mix of shock and pain. He is not in full panic and pain. It looks like some version of shock has set in as he is emerging from this building, just completely beginning to melt.
Okay. I would try to douse the flames. Try to pull him or them away from the building as best I can. Try to douse the flames as best as I can.
How would you do that?
Probably with not much. Like I would probably just take off the coat that I'm at and try to pat them out that way.
Yeah, roll act under pressure.
Good.
Oh my God.
9, unless I'm still putting the +1 from my...
No, this isn't exactly.
Then it would be 9.
This is a little... You... The worst outcome is how this, like, as you're doing it, as you're taking off this coat, Hektor, you remember how this ends. You begin to take off your coat and put out the flames as this man, his flesh cracked and burned, and now you're beginning to put it out, just looks at you with surprise and shock and horror in his eyes. It was just supposed to be a surprise. What the hell? And then he stops breathing.
Does Hektor piece together that this possibly is in my mind, and possibly in Hector's mind, if he pieces together things as well, it seems that this might lead into the next memory pretty rapidly. Is that something that I can infer, or is that not?
It could. Okay, here's another part of this hard choice you make. It could lead into a different memory, but that memory is not going to be. I think this is the person, whoever this person was.
Yeah.
This, like, you feel the ghost bag on your side in this moment. You know that this was an accident and just you trying to make it right. The only way Hektor knew how in that moment. Okay. You could go farther back, but that would lead to something else. And there will be a cost to pay.
Okay.
Martha.
I think Hektor Hektor would go silent for a while.
Okay.
He would describe the interaction with Gretchen. He would describe her leaving, him wanting to go after her, the building, the figure walking out, and then stop.
Okay. I think after a prolonged silence, Martha would say, "This is the weirdest deja vu." I'll mention it later. She would say, "Hektor, where are you? What's in front of you? What do you see?"
It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen.
What wasn't supposed to happen?
Any of it. He's gotten an answer, but I think he would continue to pursue whatever threads were there, hanging off of this memory, tangentially related. He would also, if it seems like it would be in any way tickling his mind, anything to do with any interactions he had with the hushed hands while he was in this place. Not necessarily in this moment, but in any time during the memories that he lost, he wants to make sure that they weren't the reasons he lost his memory.
That would be okay. Yeah, that's something that probably wouldn't be great right now because you're kind of, these are following like these when you go into these therapy sessions, it's you kind of jumping around a certain memory or a time frame. Sure, that doesn't seem like there's a way to do that currently.
Okay. Then he would follow whatever tendrils paths are connected to this moment.
Okay. You're basically pushing. So some things will happen, but
sorry, Martha wants to check, how is Hektor doing compared to last time? Because last time I would characterize that as like a powerful negative response. How is Hektor doing right now? Is he doing okay?
I don't know about mentally, but physically his pulse is way up. His pulse is racing. His skin feels a little flush. Feels a little warm, and he is gushing these grayish things from his eyes.
Okay.
It's fine. Sure, it's fine.
Okay, I just gotta say, but okay. So in game, out of game, Martha will let Hector go a little further, but is likely to intervene soon. Does that sound okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Hector, here is what you get in these flashes as you are now like beginning to feel the heat from that moment where you were trying to, as you were surrounded by flames of the forest, of this building, of this person. That heat stays with you as you kind of traversed, hopping from memory to memory. You see the flashes of blades, the kind of the stench that burnt wood leaves. You feel a sticky wetness on your flesh as something throws you against a tree, and your thumb grips tighter on the U-gun, and you feel your teeth clench. You also and you feel the camaraderie of people around you, several, as you are in this moment fighting whatever it is. And then you flash forward again, farther than before, of you examining this vessel and looking at the glass thing, the glass container, and you feel yourself nod to someone, and you grip this vessel, and then whatever afterward is gone. It is not fractured like everything else. There is nothing, and there is no way to get it back. And we switch back to the library.
Fuck.
Jesus.
Oh boy. There's not enough cookie dough or marshmallows in this house for this.
So where were we? We were looking up
You
stuff.
found
I
some
don't know.
names. You found we just landed.
We got
on
the
you,
names.
You got
right?
found 3 names, and you found the picture of Hector and Gretchen at Nana's barbecue blowout.
Right.
Of them looking happy together on a grill.
Okay. I don't know. Do we need more? I mean, I'm sure there's more. Do we need more?
Well, I think we need to find out where we can find this Daryl Hutchinson, maybe. And find out who all here was involved, or maybe missing, that this paper didn't know was missing.
I'd say with the remaining time, you don't have to roll for it. With the remaining time in Tom books, you find that Maggie Wilson retired and has since moved out of Hush Hallows. Jeffrey Holmes is retired as well now. Was an officer for many years, made his way up to lieutenant. Still lives in Hush Hallows, but is retired. And Daryl Hutchinson obviously no longer owns the V3, but got a nice insurance payout and does still live in town as well.
Okay.
So do we want to maybe check back in with Hector and Martha and see if they've made progress, and then maybe try to track down some of these people tomorrow?
Yeah, unless they got more information than we did. But
Right.
yeah, but we should. What time is it at this point?
It's probably close to 9. You see, like,
Okay.
Occasionally Tom walks by, kind of just like seeing how long you guys intend to stay, but doesn't kick you out.
Oh boy.
Lucy will
There's
like
2 kids.
His 2 nephews follow him along.
Yep.
Yikes. Lucy will like kind of clean up, whatever it is that we took out to look at and put them away. And I guess as we're walking out, I'll like, thanks, man.
Hey, come back anytime.
Yeah.
You anything? Get a library card and you can hook you up.
I might come back tomorrow. I'm pretty tired right now. My brain's real sleepy, but maybe I'll come back tomorrow and get one of those. I support
Yeah,
libraries.
it's
They're real good.
Yep.
Thanks.
Same.
Thanks. Hey, thanks. All right. See y'all tomorrow. It begins to close up.
Darlene's going to make sure this library is not connected to a cult before she makes a little donation.
Lucy just doesn't like to leave her name anywhere. How's it look outside? Anything look weird, spoopy,
Book of
strange?
the Eldritch Tomes. That's actually the full name, as it is a cult.
Yes.
Great.
No,
Great.
no,
Great.
It's just town books. Outside, it looks like it's pretty dark outside. You can roll sharp if you want to.
Okay.
You can roll if you want to.
Oh,
You can leave your
that's a
luck behind.
6.
It's a 6.
Yes.
You feel fine.
Leave your luck behind.
Seems fine. Good,
fine.
good.
Everything's okay.
Is 6 a failure or is 5 a
6
failure?
is a failure.
Oh my god, I
Mark
leveled!
that
It's
XP.
good. And there's no
Yes.
negative consequences, I'm sure.
Shh. It's fine.
Great. Great.
This is the hushed Hallows, okay? We don't talk about that.
That's right.
We never talk about our failures on this show.
We never talk about that.
We just fight them poorly.
So I will walk. Darlene probably notices that Lucy's walking like a little bit faster than normal just because she really didn't like that van earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And heads over to the car, the hearse, hops in.
All right, you make your way.
Lucy
into
follows. Darlene follows. Wow, I'm doing it.
Someone
Great.
follows. I don't know,
We're
man.
great.
Lucy
Fucking
Doing
wild.
real great.
Everyone's in the car. You guys make your way back to the wake and bake. Lucy, Darlene, you once again feel the tingle as Lucy crosses the threshold once more. Martha, what do you do as now Hektor is like, you feel, you see his face reddening more and more. The tears are still coming out. You feel him begin to gasp for air a little bit as he is like bouncing back and forth through all these memories.
Mm-hmm. Martha says, Hektor, you can hear my voice. My voice is becoming louder. I want you to focus on my voice. I want you to hear me. You're going to start to come out of this now. Your eyelids aren't so heavy. You can start to feel your arms. You can move your limbs. I want you to focus on my voice and being present here. That's what Martha does.
I think he would start to do that, unless something else tickles.
Not currently. You kind of
No.
bounce back and forth, and that's mainly what I think. You were so struck by the fact that this is the first time since you've been to Hush Hallows where there was something that was a dead end, and this is the first time you felt that kind of impact.
Okay.
To clarify, where did that dead end happen exactly?
That dead end happened where Hektor was nodding to someone else inside his own lab. Didn't see who. He was gripping the vessel and looking at the containment unit, feeling like you were probably just about to begin this, whatever was going to put this thing inside, and that whatever happened afterward is gone.
Oh, void howdy.
Okay. Yeah, he would attempt to come back to himself. And probably continue breathing heavily. And not really be able to open his eyes very well, assuming there's just like everywhere. But I think he would like lean forward, trying to catch his breath, just like hands on his knees. Try to wipe the schmutz off of his face. I don't know his name specifically. He was just some guy who was in the wrong place at a terrible time, and I tried to save him.
I understand.
There's something actually missing, though. I don't remember how I did this. I don't remember how I got him in there. It's gone. It's not. There's nothing. There's no static. There's nothing.
Someone took something. Someone took it from you.
What if it was the same ones that took something from Lucy? Someone's trying to keep a big secret here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good hunch. But we have a time, a place, and a person. Now we just need a name. We're almost there.
Yeah. I'm very tired. I'm gonna go. I need to go lay down. And he'll stand up, and I think he's actually like physically exhausted to the point where he tries to stand up and is kind of like a little bit weak, and he'll say, could you help me?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would help Hektor up and get him comfortable somewhere.
Back in his room?
Yeah.
As you guys kind of begin making your way up the stairs, that's when Darlene and Lucy begin to enter through the front door.
Before Martha, Martha, I don't know if would leave Hektor right away, but would eventually go back to her room. But she is going to say to him, sounded like it was a very terrible accident and that you weren't able to save him and he died.
I think my life has been plagued by terrible accidents.
I understand.
I'm a very unlucky person, it seems.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
You can't correct the past. But in this line of work, it's entirely possible that that exact same scenario will happen to you again. An accident will happen. Destruction and fire will reign. And someone you cared about, or someone, an innocent bystander, will pass away, and you'll be there for it. And in that time, I'd like to offer you a suggestion on what to do. Tell them you're sorry. You tell them you did everything you could. You tell them that it'll be okay. That they don't have to fight anymore.
Well, I hope I don't have to do that.
I hope so too. My door's always open. And then, yeah, Martha would, do whatever, leave.
All right, Martha leaves and walks back down the stairs and sees Lucy and Darlene entering from the front door.
You two are back from the library? Are your endeavors fruitful?
To an extent. I don't think we have the name of the individual we're looking for, but we have some leads.
Okay.
I think we've narrowed down the event that it was tied to. And we have names of some people who were around then and might have an idea of where to look.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I'll let Hektor tell you the bulk of it, but we had a similar endeavor. I think we found a person, a place, and a time. We just don't have the name yet, but we definitely had a breakthrough.
All right.
I'm gonna go lay down. Hector's quite tired, but I'm sure he'd want to know. And Martha would go to her room and lay down.
Okay, Martha lays down and gets ready to sleep for the night, as it is now the evening and it's been a trying day. Lucy and Darlene, do you go tell Hektor? Or what do you do?
I think so. Yeah.
If I see that Darlene starts to go talk to Hektor, I think I would say, maybe tomorrow. I'm not good with humans, but maybe tomorrow we need to talk to him. I wonder.
Didn't Martha just say you think she thought that Hektor would want to know?
I do think that he wants to know, and he has every right to know. I also
just think we should wait.
I just think he might want. It might be good for him to rest. I don't know how good. Excuse you. I don't know how good or how well he will take or process this information currently.
Okay.
If he had a breakthrough in a therapy session, he might need a little rest.
Okay. Well, I'm going to see if Hektor needs any, like, food then.
I'm going to go finish up Charmed.
Cool. That sounds good. What season are you on?
I am on season 4 now.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you're fully acclimated into the new sibling and all that.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Excellent casting. Well done.
Okay. Well, I'll just see if he needs anything. And Darlene will just gently tap on Hector's door.
Unless Martha closed it, I don't think he would have. He doesn't, I don't think, regularly sleep with his door closed. So it might still be open a little bit. And even if it was closed, I think you would hear him crying inside of the room.
Hektor, just wanted to see if you needed anything, food, water, tea.
You don't get a response. Although it probably wouldn't be hard to deduce it's because he probably can't hear you.
think she can Darlene see Hektor or no?
I'm probably, if the door's not all the way closed.
Are there any lights on in your room?
You probably would have had like a nightstand light, like
Okay.
a small.
So you can
small
probably
light.
see him like partially lit.
Okay. I think Darlene will get a glass of water and bring it in and just sort of so long as Hector's decent and everything.
Oh yeah.
Bring it in, set it down, and
He hasn't really moved since Martha left, so he's still like fully clothed and everything. Shoes still on, everything. Just fell on the bed. Had a minor mental breakdown.
no. Darlene thinks about helping Hector take his shoes off and stuff, but then remembers that there is a threat that could be knocking at her door at any moment and decides to leave him on. And just sort of pats his hand and says, try to drink that water if you can hear me, and we'll be just outside if you need us.
I think if you pat his hand, his other one will move onto it, and I think between the time that you had stopped in and gone to get the water and come back, I think he had calmed down a little bit. And would just pat your hand as well and give it just a gentle squeeze, and say, "You all are so very kind. You know that, right?"
Try to be. To some people, at the very least. It's a very harsh line of work that we are in. And sometimes a little kindness does a world of difference. So it's just something I try to be mindful of now and then.
Well, thank you.
Get some rest, sugar. Drink that water.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Darlene will quietly slink out of the room.
She would see him kind of just sit up a little bit and start to drink the water as she left.
Darlene, do you do anything else with the rest of your night? It is now 9:30, 10.
I think she's so just generally restless and now concerned that of what she learned in her research earlier. If something was trying to contact her, she's gonna. Hello, cat. She's gonna try to do a little more research and try to find out what might be trying to contact her and how or why.
Okay. Roll and we can talk about it.
Okay. Am I rolling sharp?
Yeah, it's sharp. Investigate.
Okay. That's cocked. Hang on. Trying to see in the dark. Oh, okay. All right. 9.
Okay. What this thing? Your questions were what it wants, and what was the other question? How it was doing that? Was that what were questions exactly? One more time.
It was I think she's just trying to find out what is trying to contact her and like why and or how.
Okay. So with your 9, your mixed success, here's what you get. You do fill up your clock for this. As for the information, it's researching. You can't really tell who specifically or why those specifics just from reading. The things you do as to how, the things I think from all of your research, there's probably a couple points. One, you know for sure that the veil is thin here. Things can contact and cross over and whatnot. 2, dreams are a very easy way to get in and contact people, as you have seen in recent days. And what you kind of, after, I think, spending a good portion of this night, probably pushing midnight, I imagine in your room for this, this is more of a, for the scene, more of a personal kind of research into the specifics of what happened. You have an idea of how to kind of push some of these things together that you've experienced. The drought of the sleepless that you used on Hektor, which worked, not exactly the way you wanted with the interactions, but did have the intended effect and worked correctly. As well as what Darlene has done before in using her own magic, the scrying, to investigate the throat monster, the sound monster from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. You think you could combine these two into something called blood dreams. And we'll talk about the specifics later. Darlene kind of begins to push this together.
We need to stop asking questions. I don't want to know! We're just going to close our ears, shut our eyes, and run at monsters.
And just pull out your sword and just try to fight it.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good. It's so good.
Darlene begins to take her reading and sketch some things down. Lucy, it is now about midnight. You are on the couch. And in a oversized tank top and pajama pants and a undone fuzzy brown robe, Brogy comes down the steps with his 2 dogs following. Kind of wipes his eyes. Oh, you're still up? What's And he kind of makes his way over to you, and as he does, both Blaze and Smokey hop up on either side of you, and they begin to rest their heads on your legs.
Oh, I pet them gently.
They nuzzle in a little closer. Yeah, I think they appreciate that walk. I try, but I'm not always a big walker. I think they like you.
That's interesting.
They nuzzle you a little bit more, and then they one of them, Smokey, just kind of looks at you again and tilts its head, and then licks your arm and goes back to nuzzling.
Do I get a sense of what's happening with that? You
could roll plus either sharp or weird.
Oh, I'd be happy to roll weird.
Sure.
Can't wait to hear the answer to this question.
That's right.
We should have asking questions. I have a question.
Death
the best possible answer is they know you're dead somehow and they don't care. The worst is yet to come.
13.
I think by you probably haven't had a ton of close encounters with based on your lifestyle, the whole group's lifestyle. You probably haven't had a lot of close encounters with pets and sticking around. You get the sense that these things do recognize that something is different about you, but despite their apprehension, are still somewhat affectionate towards you, but do still note something is off.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they're not demon dogs or anything.
No.
Hey, Brogy.
What's up?
Have you had anybody new check in here or anything?
Well, you chucked in the new that new Martha. Still haven't met her. I should introduce myself. I should make breakfast tomorrow. That's a great way to do it.
What an excellent, wonderful idea.
Think she
no,
likes Dutch babies?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe you know what? Try.
I'll go with that. Yeah, it's a good
It's a
start.
great idea. Do you so no one else other than Martha?
No, we're pretty much like after you rented your 3 rooms, we're pretty much like booked up here. We don't really have any more space.
Okay. Do you like know the town well and the people in the town?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen a van driving around or anything? Looks kind of beat up, old white van. Rental plates, temporary plates.
Well, I'm not really like looking for plates, but I mean, a white van is a pretty common occurrence. I mean, like workers use them. It's not a uncommon car, but I can keep an eye. Is there any reason you want me to like keep an eye out?
Yep. Just haven't figured out that reason yet, but do me a favor and let me know if you see it.
All right, I'll keep my eyes peeled. A beat up white van with plates. Cool. Yeah, I can do that.
Tinted windows. It's kind of sketchy.
Sure. Sketch van. So have you thought about the employment here? You're going to keep walking the dogs?
We'll see.
We'll see. And I think he sits next to you with like a glass of hemp milk. And,
oh, Jesus.
and some rosemary popcorn. Says, you mind if I like stay up for a bit and chill?
Nah, I'm season 4 charmed, man.
Hell yeah. And he like, as you say that, he pulls out a journal and there are copious notes like with the symbols from Buffy, Charmed, Teen Wolf, like a pretty accurate sketch of the TV logo. And then a bunch of notes he's written down like about magic and spells and the monsters therein. And comparing and contrasting some of these shows and movies.
Oh. I'm going to like just lean over and keep an eye on what he's writing. Just out of curiosity.
You do, as the night continues on into the wee hours of the morning with you guys. He offers you some popcorn and a glass of milk as you watch Charmed, the 2 dogs, nuzzling you, and occasionally him, as we pan up out of the wake and bake, and we see a crosstown in an empty parking lot, a rusted white van, and a slight glow from inside, visible through the tinted windows. And that's where we'll end this evening.
Oh, no.
Oh, Sven! What? Was someone peeping?
Maybe.
What color was the glow? Was it
lumberjacky?
No, it didn't seem lumberjacky. It just seemed like inside the white van, just like a dull, like yellowish glow.
Okay.
Fire.
Great.
No, it was plaid. It was definitely
a plaid glow.
It was the old plaid glow.
That's where we're on tonight. So everyone go ahead and say your name, where we can find you, and your favorite moment. We'll start with Darlene.
Oh, hi, that's me. I'm Darlene. I played Alexis tonight, and you can find me at Fox Spinato on the internets. You can find me here Tuesdays doing this as a Blood Witch. You can find me here Fridays doing a much more grim version of Blood Witch in a surreal horror strange world with Emma as my co-GM for Hallowed Hearts, with Maria and Val as our players. You can find me Wednesdays for Tales of Gashari, where tomorrow I'm reprising my role as a vampire sword lesbian, and occasionally you can find me here ripping movies to shreds with my Grand Hag claws with my fellow Grand Hag Emma. My favorite moment tonight was probably, oh god, there was so much in there. There's so much in there. Fuck. I loved and hated Tom Books. God
Tom
damn
Books.
it.
Tom
Tom
Books.
Books. But I'm really concerned about the whole blood dreams thing.
Nah, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's gonna bode real well for Darlene. Blood dreams. Blood dreams. Fuck. That's me. Bye. Maria.
Hello, I'm Maria. I can be found on the internet at Happy Capster most places, as well as here. Here, this is the place I'm at. Both Tuesday nights and Friday nights for the next couple of weeks with that beautiful heart game run by these two beautiful fierce femmes over here. I can also be found on my own Twitch channel Monday through Thursday-ish, where I do just whatever I feel like doing. Right now it's playing through the new Amnesia game, which is so scary. Also, you can find me at Society Goblins, where we're posting a bunch of TTRPG goodies and creative stuffs. Also on Mythos Mystery Society, where I think we're finishing up invasive procedures tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure that's when we're doing that, which is so scary. And sometime soon, I'm finishing up the second part of The Company, which is a horror company survival game that I started running last week. So keep an eye out for that when we decide to finish that up. My favorite moment was that last bit of advice that Martha gave Hektor. It's going to be playing in my mind for at least the rest of the night, and then forever and ever, because I have plans to do things with that information now. That'll be sad, I'm sure. But that was absolutely my favorite moment. Also, Tom Books, because so the best and the worst. Emma.
Hello. I'm Emma. You can find me at MK Hansen on Twitter. And you can find me here Tuesdays. You can find me over at Mythos Mystery Society more often than not. And tomorrow, as Maria said, we are finishing up invasive procedures, which is absolutely terrifying and wonderfully horrific. Content warnings, watch with severe caution. And on Fridays, here again, co-GMing with Alexis, where I also play a Grim Reaper witch. So my favorite moment from this evening was the moment when the guy walked out of the video store and Hektor realized that, like, I know exactly how this ends, and this was all a mistake, and I totally fucked up. That was an incredibly well done and good moment. That's me, Matthew.
Okay. Hi, I'm Matthew Foreman. You can find me at Matthew W. Foreman on Twitter. You can find me here on Twitch TV/Dice Priority and on my own Twitch channel at Twitch TV/Matt Foreman, where I stream Dead by Daylight on Thursdays and Fridays. My favorite moment. So there were two things. This is one of those sessions that's like very good. Hit all the notes. Everyone did really great. This was great to be a part of. Love this. Needed this. My two favorite things. Ty, I love the bouncing back and forth because that seems like a simple trick, but if any GM has ever tried that before, it's actually so hard to do correctly. The bouncing back and forth, like the whole thing. I had tried it once years ago in our home game. I was like, yeah. And I've done it successfully since then, but that was beautiful to do that. So bravo on that. And then, of course, Maria, I will never get tired of RPing with you, whether it's adversarial, friends, frenemies. I love you, and GM RPing that scene with you was awesome, and what a terrific night. That's me.
And I'm Ty. You can find me at Ballroom Brawler on Twitter. You can find me over at Mythos Mystery Society, where we just did a lot of games for our Mythos convention. Some of them are already up on YouTube. Dave has started putting up the Kids on Bikes video, and the audio will be up soon, which was a ridiculous time, but a lot of fun and nostalgia in there. My favorite moment from, and we're going to finish up Kids on Bikes, I believe, this Saturday with everyone. So keep your eyes open for that. My favorite moments from tonight would be probably everything with Hektor. Hektor choosing to go back in the memories even after like it was cleared that it was going to be dangerous, just to get like a little bit more, even if it was not entirely pertinent, was very good and dangerous, which I always enjoy. And end of session moves. It's one, you didn't finish the current. I don't even have to look anymore. You didn't finish the current mystery. You didn't save anyone from certain death for sure.
I leveled up.
And but you did find something new about the hunter and the world. So 1 XP.
Nice.
That's all I needed.
Can I mark an experience for Hektor coming to me with advice and walking him through that? Because that's my move.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect, gorgeous. All right.
Because it's
when they come to me with advice and they follow through.
Yeah, because this was for sure follow through. This was like, that session went. If the session went bad and he didn't come back, that'd be a different story. But
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere else.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So you're good there, so I can do the thing now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks. We are 1 follower away from 900 followers. We've actually been trying to get to like 1,200 followers for a while. Who apparently gaining followers on Twitch is really hard. We don't know what to do. So why don't you follow Dice Priority right this breaking second if you aren't already, or get a friend to do it so we can reach 900 followers, and then we'll get at 1,000, and then we'll be at 1,000,000 because that's how math works.
That's right.
We're going to go ahead and raid So Many Games. As always, thank you for spending... Did it didn't go through? Hello?
It did.
Oh, I don't see the... I don't have the... Can anyone else confirm? I don't have the...
Yeah,
It says
show
we're rating So Many Games with 9 raiders.
I'll refresh.
It didn't say it from me.
Yeah. Okay, I have it now. Cool. So yeah, follow Dice Priority, subscribe if you can. Bits are great. Thank you all so much for the support. And we will see you tomorrow for Strike, Friday for Heart, and next week for Hallows and stuff. So bye.
Bye.